Welcome back, my friends. Today we're working on our home apothecary. We're going into cold and flu season, and we really want to be as prepared as we can because when you're dealing with a natural remedy, wait, I'm sorry. When we're dealing with a natural remedy, one of the things that you have to consider is that it's not a pharmaceutical. So without those chemicals and the things that make things work intensely but have all those side effects, is that they take longer to make, they take time to develop, and you will have to take them a little more often. But that's the price you pay for not being loaded up with side effects and all kinds of chemicals that are in your body that we're trying to avoid. Again, I am not a doctor. I do not play one on YouTube. And I use herbal remedies to support, not to replace. So, if we start feeling poorly, well, we start here. And if we, very often, more often than not, frankly, we are able to head off cold and flu and just feel better and reduce the intensity of whatever's going on. Or if we catch it early enough, even sometimes push it away, which is, I'm very thankful for because have you ever had your husband get sick? Is it not the worst? I'm sorry. I love you guys. But when you get man sick, anyhow, that being said, we've been making homemade vinegars. We've been doing lots of ferments here, as you know, unless this is your first time with me, in which case I will go ahead and link some of the videos below so that you can see what natural fermentations are about and what we've been doing here on the farm. What we're doing today, ordinarily I was considering going with a tincture first, but then I decided that's not what I would use. And I want to share things with you in the way that we use them here. I am not interested in following what everybody else may be doing in their videos. I love everybody's videos. That's not a slight at all, but I just kind of wander off on my own path. I tend to do that. I always have. And now I'm doing it in front of witnesses. Tinctures are stronger than Oxymels, which is what we're making today. But the problem with them is that it's pretty rough to get them down. And if you're trying to get a kid to willingly take a tincture, well, you're going to have a chase on your hands. And there are other ways around alcohol. I'll get to that when we get to our tinctures, because some things must be the infusion must take place with alcohol. There is no other way around it. So there are some things that there is no choice. And then we find other ways to try to make them palatable. However, why start there when we can start here? This is what we call an Oxymel, Oxymel. I've got all my papers in front of me because I've been doing this stuff for a long time, but I never bothered to pull all the research together like I'm going to share with someone else, but now I am. I have put together a really nice fact sheet for everybody that will be available. There'll be a link in the description below, and it'll tell you everything about why we use Oxymels, how they work, all that good stuff. They're very easy to make, and it only takes about 2 weeks to infuse. But as you're going into cold and flu season, we want to start to prepare those things. So you want to start to have your fire ciders and your Oxymels and things like that so that they're ready to go if and when you should start to feel like poop. Okay, so what is an Oxymel? An Oxymel is a combination of apple cider vinegar, raw in most cases. Does it have to be raw? No, you could use store-bought apple cider vinegar. However, the increased benefit from using a raw apple cider vinegar, which you can buy, the name Bragg's. The name is Bragg's. They have it at Whole Foods. That is a raw apple cider vinegar. In fact, if I recall correctly, it actually even says on the label that it has mother in it. Now, it's been a long time. I cannot confirm that's still the case, but it's what we used to use before I started making my own vinegar. Okay, so this is apple cider vinegar. It is homemade, and you can probably see some mother floating around, floating around in it. It looks like a little alien floating in there, but it's probiotic rich. So if you're taking something to improve your health, why not take the extra step and use a raw product that will improve, make it stronger, be better for you than not. If it's all you can get or you have access to is apple cider vinegar, just, the regular stuff from the local supermarket, use that. It is certainly not, it's better than nothing, I promise you. Now, the honey, this is from my bees. Yeah, I'm aware that most people don't just have quarts of honey hanging around from their bees. It is very important, if at all possible, it's really important. it's like I don't want to say don't, but the reality is this works with raw honey. I've never tried it without raw honey. I can't speak to it, and I don't want to send you in the wrong direction. Honey is expensive, and I certainly don't want to waste your money or your time. I have just too much respect for both. If you can find raw honey, in fact, I'll link some from Amazon. Amazon has a great, I thought I might have had one bottle left. It's only got this much in it, but I'll grab the label. I've had it forever. Honey never goes bad. So if you buy it, it'll stay on your shelf forever. If it crystallizes, I'll explain how to take care of that. I think I've got this much left in that container because we've been harvesting our own honey for the past 2 years. Okay, so what you need is apple cider vinegar, raw if you can, raw honey for sure, and then the herbs that you want to use that are going to help with what you're trying to do. In this case, the one that we're starting with is to help build immunity because we're trying to head off what we could do for cold and flu. So things that are going to boost our boost our immunity, make us feel a little stronger, help with sore throats, things like that. That's why I'm using lemon balm and Tulsi. These are fantastic boosters for ourselves, and this goes together in a flash. It's wonderful. And there's that flag. It's the attack fly. Vinegar on its own does not taste great. I mean, that's just the truth. But when you mix in honey, it makes it so much more palatable. I have no trouble getting my kids to take this stuff. And you can add it to other things. Now, if you add it to a cup of tea, for example, you're feeling poorly, you add it to a cup of tea, let the tea come down in temperature just a little bit. You don't want to kill off all those good nutrients with extremely hot tea. This stuff doesn't want to be hot. Okay, but so if you let that tea come down a bit and then add it, it's a great way to take an Oxymel. The other way to take it is the way that we usually do, which is if we're just starting to feel a little something, you know, that you get that little feeling in the back like, uh-oh, I think I might be fighting something. We start right then, 2 tablespoons, just in the morning, 2 tablespoons. It goes down really easily, no problem. If you're really, okay, it was too late, I'm feeling poorly, well, then you want to take it more in the day. So 2 tablespoons in the morning, and then maybe a tablespoon in the afternoon and a tablespoon in the evening, and do that for 3 or 4 days. We have found here that it helps. It helps quite a bit, and I hope that you will find that it does as well. Now, this is not a cure. I don't even think there is a cure for the common cold. This helps, and it's been my experience in that case. I'm not a doctor, as I said, and I can't guarantee to you, well, this is going to solve all your problems. Because if I could solve your problems, I would just give you lottery winning numbers. We wouldn't mind a cold then, wouldn't we? So we're going to take the simplicity of mason jars. These things, you just can't go wrong with them. I mean, this is just the best stuff. Now, plastic lids is what you want to use when you're using any alcohol or vinegar or anything like that. I used up all my plastic lids. So when you have a plan B, you get a square of parchment paper and you're going to seal your jar just like this. So, and then you can shake it and the vinegar is not touching the metal lid. It's as easy as that. So if you don't have plastic lids, you don't feel like buying them, you're out like I am, this is a great solution. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to get myself all set up here and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. What we're going to do, and again, the instructions with the measurements will be below. So you don't have to worry about that. You just watch, see what goes on, and then you can print this out and have it for your binder or however you save recipes and formulas. In general, what you want is 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. What do I mean? 1/3 of the herb of your choice, in equal amounts. So 1/3 of this herb, 1/3 of honey in the same amount, and 1/3 of vinegar. That way you're working in proportions instead of exact measurements. So if you're using a big jar, you have a huge family, well then this isn't going to work. You need a much bigger jar. So then you would use 1/3 of that jar, 1/3 of that jar of the honey, and then the vinegar. So I'm using smaller jars because there's only 4 of us. Now, a couple of things I want to get out before I forget, because I'm me, I will forget. You can use fresh herbs or dried herbs to make an Oxymel. However, I want to go on the record as saying I use dry because it lasts longer. The natural liquids that are in fresh herbs will over time release and put water in your Oxymel. And over time that's going to break down and it is going to encourage mold. So you would keep, anytime you're using a fresh herb in your Oxymel, keep it in the fridge. Okay? And then it'll last you a good long time in the fridge. It works great. It's not shelf stable just to sit on your counter using fresh herbs. Okay, that said, using dried herbs, which is my preference, I still keep it in the fridge. If I keep this on the shelf, just sitting on the counter, it'll last for about a year. Just, you can just leave it on your shelf. I have an apothecary area that I think I'm going to show you. In fact, I'll take a quick shot of it and include it in this video just for fun. I can keep that there. However, again, it stores better in the fridge. Now, when you put it in the fridge, you're going to have to give it a little, be more active in your stirring because the chill is on that honey and it just thickens just a little bit. So you're going to give it a little stir. It's easier to work with when it's at room temperature. However, it lasts longer and I like the way it tastes better when it's a little bit cold. Okay, so we're going to do 1/3 of this jar with our Tulsi, 1/3. This one is going to be our lemon balm. So we're going to do 1/3 of the jar with our herbs, 1/3 of the jar with our honey, and 1/3 of the jar with our vinegar. Now, there are marks on your jar, so that actually does help. But if you are half blind like I am, I'm going to do my very, very best. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so I am using the lines on the side of this jar. And 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. So there's 6. So I need to get up to 2. Okay, the second line. And I'm just about there. Okay. Yes. And so that actually helps quite a bit, is to have the lines. What was that? That was the Tulsi. So I don't want to mix them up. Well, they don't look alike. And then I'm going to do the same. We're going to go to the second line with our lemon balm. And by doing that, we are assuring that we're going to have the proper strength, which is, it's important. I mean, we're going through all this effort. That's what we want to make sure that we do. Okay, there we are. Okay. I made a mess. All right, so now, for some reason, I always do the honey first. Now we're going to go up 2 lines. I very much doubt you can see this, but there are lines right here. I'm on the second line. I'm going to go up to the 4th line with the honey. Now, when I pour the honey in, it's going to displace all this. It's fine, as long as the entire mixture goes up to the 4th. 1, come on. There we go. Okay. Okay. And now, where'd my line go? Okay. Where'd you go? Ah, there you are. Okay, and then we've got our vinegar. Now, what you want to do is mix this to within an inch of its life. I mean, you really want to get this moving, because this entire process, everything that's been put in here is going to pull the natural oils and nutrients out of those herbs. So we want to get it going. Then we're going to cover it. We're going to cover it and we're going to shake it every day. Now, if you don't want to shake it, maybe you don't feel so safe with your lid, just use a spoon. But you want to make sure that you agitate this really well. A bubble. You want to agitate this really well every day for 2 weeks. And at the end of the 2 weeks, we're going to strain it all off and we're ready to go. Now, it's going to take on a different look, and it's going to start a nice ferment, and it's going to be amazing. Now, if you're using the fresh herbs, the way you know that it's gone bad is that you're going to start to see fermenting long after it's been strained and it's ready to go. That's that water that's kind of misbehaving. And the minute you see something like that, it's done. It's time to get rid of it, and you make a new batch. It's much less likely to happen if you're using the dried herbs. Now, when you strain out your herbs, my husband's iPad again. Now, when you strain out the herbs, waste not, want not, they work out great in your compost. I waste nothing. They will go directly into my compost. Okay, now that's ready to go. Now I'm going to just rinse off. You know what? I won't rinse off my spoon. I'll grab another one. Don't want to mix them up. Okay. And then we're going to cover these up. We're not going to keep them in sunlight. We don't want that. Anytime you have sunlight hitting your herbs or anything like that, it starts to denature and ruin those natural oils that's what we're seeking. That's what we're trying to use to help us. So you want to avoid damaging them, so that what really will damage them is sunlight or just the light from your home. So you pick a nice little spot that doesn't have a whole lot of light, not a lot of wind, not near your air conditioning vents or your heating vents or anything like that. Stable and kind of quiet. That's what we want. But you want to put this someplace for those first 2 weeks where you're going to remember. So either set your phone for an alarm or just keep it someplace where you're not going to forget, because the agitation really is important, because the honey and the vinegar will start to separate, and every day you want to bring this back together until the infusion is complete. And this stuff, ooh, it actually smells amazing. You can even use this in salad dressing. That's how delicious it is. And it's nutrient rich. So you're adding a little boost right to your salad dressing. It tastes that good. So we're done. We will need to label. It's important. We label and we date. Always label and date. We always think we're going to remember. No, we won't. Okay, so this one is our lemon balm. This one is, come back here. This one is our Tulsi. Tight. And give it a good shake. And you do this every day for 2 weeks, and then we strain. I'll show you that update, but this is great stuff. And this is just the beginning. We have so many different herbs that do different things. So as you start to pull things together and you start to learn, well, you know, calendula does this for me, or the Tulsi, I found that I did well with that. Then you can start to even make your own mixtures, and it becomes amazing. Now, I did these individually. When it comes time, what I can do is actually mix them together, because these are both immunity boosting. I did them individually so that I can do other things. I can use a bit of this in something else. So that's why I start them separately, and then it's up to me if I want to mix some together or leave them separately so I can do other projects. That's why I do it this way. You don't have to. You could have done a half lemon balm, half Tulsi in one jar. It works beautifully. The reason I didn't is because I like to have options. That's the only difference. I hope you give this a try. I will keep you updated on how this works, and I look forward to seeing you Sunday. Thank you so very much for joining me. I enjoy spending time with you. If you like what we do here, please consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to me and help me a lot. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I hope you do not catch a cold.